I'ma take a step back before I get all up in your
remember, because I don't remember. I remember every bit of this.
The other dude's holding on the phone line. Your voice will be heard, sir.
Next caller, please.
Jerry's gonna get him.
Fantasy sports and politics. Fantasy sports and politics. Fantasy sports and politics. Fantasy sports and politics.
Listeners are asking questions about this week's games, not Jerry's personal beef. So what's your thought?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's me, Mr. FSP, doing what I do because I do it for you all day, every day. And it's me, I'm solo, like Jason Derulo. I ain't got no problem with that. JT is doing some personal business, and I wish him the best for those activities. Next week, I will not be on air. I have some personal business I need to attend to, so I want to make sure I got in this week. I'll be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen. It's not been that busy of a sports week, but there are some topics, or a particular topic in the NFL I want to discuss. And I want to discuss it because I believe I have a very good eye for talent. I also believe I have a strong knowledge base for football and the players at their positions. You know, some of the best coaches are those that really couldn't be the excellent player. I was never the excellent player because I was thinking too much. I'll be honest with you. My brain thinks constantly, no matter what it is I'm doing. There are a lot of people that just don't think, they just do. And that's fine. That's just not me. I'm more of a let me psychologically break it down. And sometimes you don't have that time to do that. And I get it. But one thing I did fall back on was fundamentals. Fundamentals of the positions. In particular, the positions I've played. I've played quarterback. Yes, I'm 5'10", playing quarterback. Short guy. Shotgun was my best friend because when I was under center, that drop back and them boys standing up was crazy. But I would predetermine by reading the coverage a little bit as to where I want to throw the ball. And I had one game where I was just terrible, because they were reading me really well, really, really well. And with that, I ended up getting hurt. Someone else came in, became quarterback, and I moved to wide receiver. This was semi-pro. In high school, I was a receiver, and I was a good D-back. But I'll be honest, I did not like our defensive coordinator, and he's a great guy, but high school guy, me, I was good at it when they put me in the positions during spring ball and all this other stuff, but I didn't want to play for him. So I never really got the chance to put on the pads in a live game and play defense for him, which was a big mistake. My ego, he was the adult. But I say this to say, knowing the fundamentals will get a player a long way, post-career and during their career. You might not be that superstar, right? But people in sports have long careers because they can execute the basics extremely well, but there are no extraordinary things about them. Cam Ward to y'all that want to call him that. I believe he's a big, big mistake for Tennessee. Several analysts have said had he came out last year, right, he would have been a 6th-round pick. Because of the quality of quarterback play in this year's draft, he was the #1 overall pick. It says a lot about the QBs in this draft. Does that make them right? No, it does not. It does not. Tennessee has an offensive coordinator as a head coach who worked with Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is an extraordinary talent. There's nothing specifically great about Joe Burrow other than his decision making with the ball. Joe Burrow gets hurt every other year. I'm not making it up. It's true. Offensive line play has been terrible. Takes the team to the Super Bowl. 2 great receivers. Nice tight end. Halfway halfway decent offensive line, and a very good defense. After that, wheels roll off the car. Cameron Ward has a lot of flaws mechanically. Now, I'm waiting to see if 2 people in particular are going to show up. I'm talking about Mariel Jones, who might not show up because he hasn't responded yet. But Blake Washington, I'm calling you out. Jurlon French Bulldog Pace. They both, well, not both of them, but Jurlon loves the U. But Jurlon, I'll give him this. I'm going to give him credit. He has achieved something that gives him some credibility. And if he ever comes on the show, I'll give him his propers. But I'm going to also tell you that his thought process on this player, Cameron Ward, is highly flawed. Blake Washington. This man, respect him, good dude, says that quarterbacks are being taught to throw off platform and crazy this, crazy that, because that's the way things are now in the NFL. And I'm like, that's crazy. Anyone that teaches a quarterback not to set their feet, plant their feet, the torque and the inertia from the hips comes from where? Your base, your feet. And if you're using nothing but your hip and your arm, you don't have as much gas on that ball as you should. Now, you might have a cannon in the barn and can do that. But any quarterback and any quarterback's coach will tell you, any good one, let me put that way, any good one would tell you your feet direction is where that ball will go when you throw it. If you're throwing sidearm, which is what? Halfway up, 3/4 up, a 3/4 motion, you're throwing like Bernie Kosar. Did it for a while with Cleveland. Got away with it. John Elway came out like that, but John Elway also, I think he was an outfielder, but he also played pitcher or whatever, had to change his motion to the over the shoulder motion as opposed to the motion. Pat Mahomes is another person that was brought up. Off platform, feet not set, so on and so forth. And I tell you, look at his dad. Genetically, Pat Mahomes, the baseball player, genetically passed on a lot of his gifts to his son, Patrick Mahomes. I'm not saying that his throwing motion is genetic, but the gifts and the ability to throw from different angles and platforms is genetic. Cam Ward, not familiar with his parents' athletic background. I know they're coaches in high school, things of that nature. Also know that the man has had several quarterback coaches. And if any of them said that clean pocket, no rush, that you throw and looks like you're about to do the cabbage patch, something ain't right. It just ain't right. I submit to you that Cam Ward will become a bust. I've said this in groups. I've agreed with it from others that are here on this show. But I'm willing to put my face and my name on it. Unlike some people, they like to comment. Y'all can't see the comment, but people like to comment and say some ish about my tape, which is fine. It's cool to get on your private groups and all these other stuff to say these things, but put your name on it. It's like you want to be these mysterious GMs that are always talking about the players and leaking it to the media, but never putting it out there on your own. Are you a couch potato GM? All I'm saying is this: have a healthy debate, inform me of what I'm mistaken about. I'll do the same. You don't insult me, I don't insult you. But if you do, just know the floodgates open. Cameron Ward has got to be a number one, day one stud for the Tennessee Titans. If any way, shape, or form Will Levis beats him out for that first string job, to me, that's a sign that Cam Ward will be a bust. Why? Cameron Ward was picked 2 years after Will Levis was picked to be the starting quarterback. 2 years. And if they go to Will Levis as the starting quarterback to open the season, that means Cam Ward couldn't beat him out. And if you can't beat the guy out that you were bought in to replace as the number one overall pick, your coach needs to be fired. You need to be retrained. And maybe the whole organization needs to be blown up. They started that process by releasing Maurice Carthon, the GM or former GM who drafted Will Levis. That tells me ownership has this big of a fuse for this organization. The young lady that owns the Tennessee Titans, she's about that business, boss. And I believe Cam Ward is not ready. Last week, I asked the question of Dan and Jerry, and anybody that was in the chat, if you switch Shador Sanders and Cam Ward, who would perform better? And I said, I don't think Shador would have performed much better than Cam Ward will perform based upon the talent in the offensive line of the Tennessee Titans. The difference is Shador has played with the offensive line very similar to the Titans. Cam Ward has never done that. He had studs at the University of Miami. He had quality linemen at Washington State. But yeah, Washington State never really did much. He didn't elevate the other players around him enough. It's fine. I am not a hater of Cam Ward. I am a hater of those who do nothing but saliva all over him. He is a definite work in progress, an extremely high work in progress based upon his mechanics. Yes, I've seen the things on his workouts, and I've said them here, where he's dogging out high school kids that he's practicing with. And you don't need to motivate them little kids like that. The report that came about when he first stepped on University of Miami's practice field, dogging out players he didn't even know. And I get it. You're trying to get the best out of them, but you don't need to do that. You just need to lead. The stuff we saw about him and Shador. I don't need that. If I'm the coach, do I want competition? Yes. Do I need you putting down your teammate just so you can make yourself look better or feel better? No. So those are my two strikes. My third strike is the fact that he is someone that is not reading the defense as a quarterback should, in my opinion. Depending on the system. Some systems go deep, middle, short. Some systems go short, medium, long. Some systems go long, medium, dump off. Whatever. And dump off could be the short route or, the back out the backfield, however you want to do it. Cam wants that home run ball every time. Cam Ward is a talented quarterback that if he fixes his mechanics, and I mean fixes his mechanics hard, he can be a damn good quarterback in this league. But the way he throws the ball, off balance, sidearm, thinking he's going to get it through every little crease. He even said in an interview after one practice, he said, the biggest thing for him is understanding the ball is going to be in the hashes more in the NFL. And the hashes are a lot smaller in the NFL than they are in college. In the hashes, you're throwing on anticipation of someone getting open. Every team is not going to play a zone on you or a man on you. They're going to play combinations. They're going to blitz, zone, and man in one play, plus a twist or stunt up front. You, as a QB, have got to understand by film study and repetition what that looks like before it even happens. Based upon what I've seen him do in college, specifically the University of Cal, go back and watch that game. He brought him back against a very good defense. Believe it or not, Cal had a very good defense. But he was very, very pedestrian. up until it was like, okay, well, they're gonna sit back and play his own because they're winning the game. And no, that offensive line got ate up. Cam wasn't hitting nothing until late. Then I look at the Louisville game. He had some good throws. It was a good game, but it was Louisville he was playing. I digress on that. Quality of talent actually means something. I was one of those people that was against, the SEC being the best conference based upon, the caliber of players that they play and so on and so forth. But looking at Cam Ward and his play has changed my mind. Someone getting picked number 1 overall with the quality of competition he faced weekly showed me, nah. Syracuse does that to you and takes away your opportunity to play for your conference title. Don't get me wrong, Syracuse got some good players. But Syracuse? Nah. Where was the magnificent Cam Ward then? I looked at that game too. Had to bring him back. And it wasn't enough. Again, some people, Jurlon Pace, Mario Jones, Blake Washington, and anybody else who thinks I'm mistaken, you are welcome to join the program. Open invitation. I went on this group's it's their talk group that no one else gets to see except the group members. And yes, I was attacked. I will give the dude Antonio a lot of respect. He posed his questions, he waited for my responses, and he wasn't belligerent or anything like that. Now, at the end, he disagreed with me and said that I got cooked, which I disagree with, because if we're talking about, mechanics, we're talking about basics of the player, I believe I was right. I believe that what I was bringing up was accurate. And for the most part, some of the things said agree with me, but trying to say that my thought process was flawed, okay, cool. So I said yours was flawed. Not a problem. But I asked these guys, Mario Jones, I keep saying the names. Just like, say it, Tamar writes his name. Say it. Mario Jones, Jurlon Pace, Blake Washington, and anybody else that wants to defend Cameron Ward to me on this show, open forum, put your face in the place and put a stamp on it. Don't be no closet, look at him talking about, man, look, I ain't got time for that. You can talk about Stephen A. Smith and all that all you want. Stephen A. at least puts his words out there to be criticized. Right? And I'm not going to make this about Shador. But the only thing I'm saying about Shador Sanders is everybody's lauding the fact that he had, 3 touchdowns in a practice, and then he went perfect the next practice. I want to point out the fact that he only had 9 reps at throwing the ball when he threw 3 touchdowns. He went 7 for 9 with 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Joe Flacco, the projected starter, 14 reps, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Kenny Pickett, I think he had 16 reps. It was very I mean, he didn't have a good percentage. No touchdowns, no interceptions. Dylan Gabriel, 16 reps. I believe 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Shador Sanders, 9 reps, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And the one that has been shown on the internet was a beautifully placed uh, goal line pass to the tight end in the back of the end zone. Beautifully placed. I will say that he should not have looked all the way over in that direction. He should have looked off a little bit before throwing the ball. But he can fix that. Repetition. Someone said that he's not going to make the team. And I said, you're probably right. Because if you are not giving this man the same amount of reps you're giving these other guys, and you got one, Deshaun Watson, who might be coming back a lot sooner than later, who will then get reps, who you going to get rid of? The last quarterback drafted. No matter what their numbers are. One thing I want to say about Deshaun Watson, if he does come back, which he plans to do, and he starts to take the field, here is something that you can look at. He has a guaranteed contract. He's only due like $10 million this year, or a very, very easy amount this year. I'm not sure what it is. But the general manager has restructured that deal in a way that there's a lot of dead money at the end. And I believe that with this transaction that they did a while ago, they put themselves in the crossfires, doubling down on the trade to get him in guaranteed money because they had opportunity to be almost done with this contract, but they extended it to extend the money out that they're going to have to pay him. But this also says here's an opportunity for somebody to come get him cheap. And then the Browns pay the heavy set of that money. Maybe he's healthy enough. New Orleans takes a chance on him. New Orleans is not going to get Shador, y'all. They're not. Shador is way better than the quarterback they drafted. Hell, Spencer Rattler's better than the quarterback they drafted in the first round. And with Carr retiring, either the first round pick is going to get that job or Spencer Rattler, because the other kid ain't worth it. But if you trade for Deshaun Watson, right? Or even Kenny Pickett, because Cleveland declined Kenny Pickett's option year. You get a chance to have a young gun in your arsenal in New Orleans relatively cheaply. But you don't put a player in there that's going to threaten your other rookie if it's a rookie. Dylan Gabriel doesn't go anywhere. They draft him too high. Shador is the 5th round draft pick. Pickett was somebody they signed and traded for. Joe Flacco is somebody they brought in for free agency and it's giving them a lot of money. Odd man out. And Deshaun Watson's been there, but he's been injured. Odd man out are these two guys. Watson, Sanders. Watson's proven he can do the thing when healthy, but he's got to stay on the field. New Orleans needs something. They cannot go into this season with what they have at quarterback and expect fans to support and show up. It's going to be more of the opposition's fans in the stands than New Orleans Saints fans. You're going to see more trash bags on faces in New Orleans if they don't bring in someone that the fans can believe in. Alvin Kamara, another wasted year. Chris Olave, another wasted year. What are you going to do to say we're going to compete in the NFC South, which is weak as I don't know what? It's basically a two-team division, the Bucks and the Falcons, and you're not going to trade for Kirk Cousins. Why would Atlanta do that? Kirk is not that bad. He's bad now, but he ain't that bad. He's had a whole year to heal. I'm not putting Kirk Cousins in the same division. This isn't Washington and Philly, where Philly traded Donovan McNabb to Washington, even though Donovan was on his last few legs. Kirk is better at this point than Donovan was at that point. I wouldn't do it. And the weapons New Orleans has, I wouldn't do it. But you never know. Michael Penix is starting. That's gonna happen. Kurt's gonna be the backup, or he's gonna get traded. One or the other. We'll see. But my money's on Watson going to New Orleans very cheaply and for a decent draft pick, 6th, 7th round, something that's not going to affect New Orleans down the road because New Orleans has got to clean house. Oh, next year, most of those players are not going to be there. That might be why they're going to go with the quarterback that they drafted and just start over. Too much money. Too much money. I don't think they will be. Oh, excuse me. I yawn because Aaron Rodgers makes me yawn. Now, last week, Jerry Taylor said, Aaron's going through some things with some family members in his personal life that are preventing him from, joining the team right now, so on and so forth. The Steelers are okay with it. They want him in camp and so on and so forth. They believe they're going to get him. He's not going anywhere. It's just that the personal things he has to deal with. I get that. But I also said, along with Dan Carr, that Aaron Rodgers is washed. This goes back to what Blake Washington, who needs to come on the show, defend himself, said, along with Michael Coleman, comparing the throwing ability and acumen that Aaron Rodgers has with Cam Ward. I don't care about, how Aaron Rodgers throws off his back foot, does all these things. That McCarthy and LaFleur, and all of the other coaches have said they don't like it, but that's his style, and he's been effective. Aaron Rodgers has been in the league how many damn years? Cam Ward is not going to be Aaron Rodgers, nor will Cam Ward come out and be great or even good. Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre 3 years. Think about that. Michael Coleman, Blake Washington. Think about it. Aaron Rodgers is going to come in to Pittsburgh, and he's going to elevate the game of DK Metcalf. That's the hope. They're going to run the ball. That's the hope. Word is John O. Smith, who's getting or requesting to be released from Miami, wants to go to Pittsburgh, where they have Frymouth and Washington. Washington is coming into his own. Frymouth is their guy. He has a double-digit contract extension per year. I don't know where John was going to fit. Excuse me. Two tight ends is something that Brett Favre likes. Got it. Two tight ends is something that Pittsburgh should be using quite often. But the offensive line is so terrible. You couldn't do much with Najee. Warren got in, and I said this before. The run plays for Warren were different than the run plays for Najee. When you're pulling, which is a power play or a power run, for Warren all the time, he may have more production. When you're zone blocking for Najee all the time, and you don't have the best zone running lineman, you're going to have results. Najee's going to do well in LA. I have no doubts, not one doubt. But Aaron Rodgers, without offensive line, one decent receiver, because I'm not going to count Austin or the other receiver, but DK Metcalf. Metcalf's going to be doubled. Frymouth may or may not be doubled, but I believe they're going to have to run the rock hard in Pittsburgh in order to get that play action, in order to get all that stuff ready for Rodgers. He does not like motion in his offense because it disturbs the picture that the quarterback has made pre-snap. So you're going to see a lot of Pittsburgh if Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback. Come to the line of scrimmage. He's going to diagnose where he's going to the ball. He's going to get the ball out of his hands. That's what's going to happen. I'm just telling you. Aaron Rodgers is a diva. He still has a little bit in him, but I think he's washed. After this year, he's done. He is done. Pittsburgh needs 10 plus wins in order to keep, the streak going. They don't fire coaches. So I'm not worried about Mike Tomlin not finishing the year or not finishing his 3-year extension. But if you got to lean on Mason Rudolph, y'all are toast. But they did do something smart. They got Edwards out of Ohio State in the 6th or 7th round. He just won a national championship. 6th, 7th round pick. That's it. The talent there was better. Nothing else. If that's where he is. I don't know. We'll discuss it at some point when Blake Washington, Jurlon Pace, Mario Jones, Michael Coleman decide to come on the show and talk. All right, let me move on to the NBA. Man, OKC. I got them winning it all. I really do. I'm going to be honest. If the Knicks win tonight, they're winning in New York. And I got a feeling they're going to win tonight. I do. I think they're going to take 3 straight from the Pacers. Very young, fun team. But the market for the Pacers and OKC is this big. This big. But the market with OKC and the Knicks in the championship, off the screen. What I can say is the Knicks have outplayed the Pacers every game until the last 5 minutes. And then for some reason, the Knicks seem to melt. Except for 2 games that they won. They need to come out and dominate and win this game in the first quarter. Beat down the Pacers because the Pacers love to run. this will be a low-scoring game. If it's a low-scoring game, the Knicks win. But you're in Indiana, and the refs, they've made some questionable calls and no calls, in my opinion. Meanwhile, OKC's healing up. The longer this series goes, which I think the longest it can go is like Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken, the worst is going to be for OKC when they play whichever team that advances. Think about that. They're going to be lackluster and somewhat rusty, just like they were versus the Timberwolves, and gave up that one horrendous game. Pacers can run with them. If it's Pacers and OKC, there is no defense. No defense. Expect that to be a 230 every game series. The Knicks, they need a third scorer. Obi is supposed to be that guy, but he's looking like just another guy, a jag. Missing free throws, missing layups, especially when you are a high ticket player and a player that was traded for from Toronto to be an impactful player. Hart is a defensive rebounding guy, not expecting more than like 8 points from him. If you get more than 8 from Hart, that's excellent. You get 6, 7 rebounds plus some steals. Hart's doing his job. He's doing his job. Who's the third man? This is like WCW with Hall and Nash. Who's the third man? Who's the third man? Ends up being Hulk Hogan, right? That jerk who doesn't like me or my people unless we have money. At least he's open about it. Because there are a lot of people that don't like people that look like me unless we have money. And then you still don't like us. Another show, another day. Anyway, think about what's going to happen if a third man shows up for the Knicks. Oh, the chaos. If OG drops 15 to 20, Brunson drops 25, 30, Cat drops 20 and 10 again. And that's the other thing I'm going to talk about. Ooh-wee. Because Miles Bridges, he can load it up too, but he's not that consistent. Cat needs to play in the post, or at least take the ball to the rim, draw fouls. Shooting threes is cool, my guy, but you're 7 foot. And you can handle the ball in tight spaces. Get to the free throw line. I get it. Barnes is the guy that's going to take the fouls and give the fouls and grab the nasty defensive rebounds or offensive rebounds. And you're going to grab some defensive rebounds, but mainly offensive. And he's going to play defense, whereas you're not playing that good defense, Cat. If you're playing in that post and you're playing big, Turner gets in foul trouble, right? You open up for those shooters on the outside. Play the triangle offense. Kick it inside, kick it outside. Thibodeau, don't run with him. Tell Cat, get your ass on the low post or high post. Space it out And if you get double, kick it out. Then those shooters have got to shoot. And they got to make them. Because once they shoot, you crash the board, Cat. You and Robinson crash the boards. And you beat the Pacers. Again, if it comes down to the Pacers and OKC, not a lot of people are going to watch that series. But it's going to be a high-scoring series. No defense. MVP versus somebody that's getting called overrated. And Tyrese Halliburton. Think about it. Tyrese Halliburton averages, 15 and 10 a game? He's a double-double guy. Siakam is getting, 20 points a game in these series? Or in this series? Then you got Nesby and Naismith. Turner showing up. Everybody's contributing, right? Good team. Not one star. Brunson and Cat got to find their third man. Because if one of them gets in foul trouble, or God forbid both of them get in foul trouble, OG ain't doing nothing. Hart will try, but he's streaky. Bridges is okay, but again, inconsistent. Nobody else on that team plays like they can take it over. Now, when Brunson's not on the floor and they have, a different array of players, they get fired up and they score. But you got to do that with your main cogs on the court. That's my thought. All right. Since Blake Washington, Jurlon Pace, Mario Jones, or Michael Scholar Coleman have not shown up to correct me in anything I've said, I put it in the chat group. I told these guys, I'm calling some people out specifically. I told them where they could see it. Gave them the invite link to come on air. It's a bunch of talk, man. Their opinion versus my opinion. And I'm okay with that. But I'm willing to put my opinion on the record so everybody can see it. Not a select few. And I get it. Barbershop talk. I got it. I feel it. I love it. But I also think if you feel that strong about your opinion and you can back it up, whatever you back it up with, put it out there. What you afraid of? You got warrants? I'm going to leave it alone. French Bulldogs. All right, y'all. Hey, to my guys in that group, I appreciate you, even though you didn't show up. Standing invite. Mr. Taylor, hopefully I'll see you in a couple weeks. I wanted him to talk about the horses. I'm not sure when the horse race is, but I don't think we're able to do that because I will not be here next week. We'll see what happens. With that being said, I want to thank you guys for tuning in to Fantasy Sports and Politics, catching me on the replay, watching me do my thing on Twitch and TikTok and all that. I appreciate it. Until next time, I will see you when I see you. Peace.
Fantasy, sports, and politics.
Get ready to rumble!
You wanna talk smack? You in the right place. So take a step back before I get all up in your
Remember, because I don't remember. I remember every bit of this.
The other dudes holding on the phone line. Your voice will be heard, sir.
Next caller, please.
Oh!
Eric's gonna get him.
Fantasy, sports, and politics.
asking questions about this week's games, not Jerry's personal beef. So what's your thought?